I'm not myself a gun owner, and I'm not going to get into the weeds as to what the definition technically of an assault weapon is.
Well, definitions are kind of important. You're the one wanting legislation. You're the one asking for these things to be banned. You have to be able to define them. The reason you can't is because it's a made-up political term. There's nothing in the firearms lexicon that describes an assault weapon. It has nothing to do with the mechanics of the firearm. It's a legal term developed by people who want to legislate from emotion. If you look at the previous assault weapons ban, it goes through and it bans weapons based on cosmetic features like a pistol grip or collapsible stock, none of which has anything to do with its rate of fire, ability to kill, nothing. It's made up. That's the reason you don't really want to define it, is because you can't.
The fact is an AR is designed to shoot multiple rounds in a short period of time. You don't need that to hunt. And the truth is, I don't think you need that for self-defense either.
Why do you hate black people? Seriously, you say it's not necessary for self-defense. I would imagine that those who have been confronted by multiple Klan members or gays who are about to get bashed would severely disagree. I would really appreciate it if you would stop trying to sign away the rights of minorities simply because you don't need it to protect yourself. Doesn't mean others don't.
How long do you think it will take to reload a gun if high-capacity magazines are banned?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to try and speculate on something that I don't know.
You have to legislate from a position of information. You can't just base laws on, well, I don't know. I don't know. That's not how it works. A magazine change, even if you're completely incompetent, takes about 2 seconds. I would appreciate it if people didn't advise teens or children to rush someone with a weapon in those 2 seconds. That's the time to get further away, not to get towards them. Please learn a little bit, just a bit, about what you're talking about before you try to legislate. You don't get to sign away other people's rights and then when questioned say, well, I don't know.
Whole Second Amendment, in my mind, the missing part that people don't seem to want to argue or understand about the Second Amendment is if you read it, word for word carefully, it specifically says, the very first part of the Second Amendment specifically says a well-regulated militia.
But it doesn't say who's regulating it.
I ask, sir, what is the militia? The whole people. To disarm them is the best and most effectual way to enslave them. That was George Mason. Probably don't know who he is. He's the co-author of the Second Amendment. There is no debate about the intent of the Second Amendment. It is to provide parity with government forces. That's what it's there to do. It's to provide a modicum of defense against congressional tyranny. It's a right. You don't get to sign it away for other people. The idea is that the average person could meet the average soldier in combat. That's what it's there for.
Look up what Andrew Jackson said about well-regulated militia.
The guy who slaughtered a bunch of Native Americans?
We're talking separate issues here.
Are we, though? It's gun violence, no?
Wait. The president who instituted martial law was a big fan of summary executions and marched thousands of people off to their death. He had a problem with the private ownership of firearms. Well, color me surprised. That's the whole point. Tyrannical governments, they don't like a well-armed populace. That's the entire point. At this point, when you're talking about the Parkland shooting, every step of the way the government failed. What you're suggesting is that we take that scenario in which every single law enforcement agency, child welfare agency, the school, everybody failed. The government failed. And what you want to do is turn the entire country into that scenario. The only option is to trust the government. The government's proven it can't handle it. The government is not there to protect you. This is not a protectorate. It is a government. Its job is to control you. It is there to govern you.
I was in North Hollywood at the time that there was you're too young to probably even remember it ever happened. But there was a bank robbery that took place at Bank of America in North Hollywood.
I'm aware of it.
Okay, two perpetrators with assault weaponry were able to take on the whole friggin' police force.
Yeah. North Hollywood shooting. That shootout at the bank. I remember that. That was something else. If only those weapons were illegal, then none of that would have happened. Everything would have been okay. No such thing. Forgot all of those weapons were illegal. It's almost like gun control doesn't really work that well. They were illegal. Those were assault rifles, not assault weapons. Assault rifle does have a definition. It's basically it's a fully automatic weapon. It's select fire. And the deciding factor there was not that they had big, scary black guns. It was that they were covered head to toe in body armor, and that the law enforcement did not have rifles. Since then, law enforcement does have rifles. It's kind of standard now. So that's a little bit of a moot point, but thanks for trying.
What percent of murders do you think will be stopped by banning weapons like the AR-15 or just assault weapons in general?
I don't know what percentage would be stopped.
3%. 3% of murders are committed with rifles of all kinds. Not just those that qualify as assault weapons. All kinds. 3%.
You want the military to have those guns.
Yes, because what's the purpose of the military? Okay, I'm not talking about when a military goes wrong or when they get the orders from, like, for example, this stupid jerk we have in office right now who may misuse the military.
Obama did too, but yeah.
I don't want to go to school.
The purpose...
Wait, what was that shrug off? Can you explain that shrug off when I mentioned Obama?
I'm not going to, because all that's going to do is take me away from the point that I'm trying to make.
Yes, definitely. Forget about any fact that goes against your point. It's not a point if it can be disrupted by a simple fact. It's an agenda. It's a narrative. The problem is you are saying, yes, let's give away our gun rights to somebody who you admit you think will abuse it.
We can actually have no military and have no weapons and say the military does not have weapons, and then basically say if a foreign power, for example, when the Japanese decided to hit Pearl Harbor, we can say, you know what, just march on into California, because we have decided that we are not going to have a military whose purpose is to protect our country.
Really? Pearl Harbor? Okay, well, I have a disputed quote that I'd like to bring up. It's disputed, but I believe it. It's alleged to have come from the files of Douglas MacArthur's historian. The U.S. mainland can't be invaded because there would be a rifle behind every blade of grass. That was Admiral Yamamoto. That's the Japanese high guy right there. So it wasn't that they feared the U.S. military and that's why they didn't invade. They didn't invade because every well-armed civilian populace kind of causes a problem for that. But again, thanks for playing.
The Second Amendment was created for the purpose of saying, wait, what happens if the English decide to come back and take America back?
Exactly. That's the whole point. Yes. What are we to do if a tyrannical government comes for us? If we're disarmed, whatever they want. It doesn't matter if it's the Brits or the Russians or our own. That's the purpose of the Second Amendment. It has nothing to do with hunting my good friends. I'm hoping that if you really reflect on that sentence, you'll understand the importance of it.